Very well, thank you.
Excellent. What brings you to tonight's class?
Sorry?
What brings you to tonight's class?
I don't understand. This is my first class with you.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, you're going to have fun tonight. We're going to read a story
Okay.
that I've taken from a newspaper, or in this case, Yahoo, and it deals with health and medicine.
Okay, good.
We'll get
So,
started shortly. I just want to explain to everybody how they can view the article. And I'm getting the article ready. It looks like we're filling up really quickly today. All right, let's see who else has just joined us. Juan Carlos, hello, sir. Mr. Juan Carlos. All right.
Okay, hello,
Hello. Where are you from, Juan Carlos?
Colombia.
Welcome, Juan Carlos from Colombia. How are you doing today? Are you having a good day?
Yes, great. It has been great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And Gustavo, I forgot to ask, which country are you from?
I am from Argentina.
Argentina. Excellent. Well, good to have you here. We have Luis from Brazil and Lau. Hello, Lau.
Hello, Simon.
Hello. You're from China, correct?
Yes. I'm
Excellent.
glad you can remember me. Yes.
I do remember you, yes. And actually, I was just watching a show on China with my wife about food and the Great Wall and Beijing. So
Mm-hmm.
good that you
Yes.
could make it with us today.
Thank you.
And beside you, we have Nora. Hello, Nora.
Hi,
Hi, Nora. Where are you from?
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Oh, so it's
Yeah.
the early morning right now.
Yeah, it's maybe 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's a
Wow.
vacation, so that's okay.
Well, thank you for staying up to take my class.
No, thank you for giving us this class.
Oh, you're welcome. And Pablo. Hello, Pablo.
Hello, teacher.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
Excellent. Where are you from, Pablo?
I'm from Colombia.
Welcome. Another student from Colombia. That's awesome.
Thanks.
All right. And of course, we have Hyde from Japan, although she likes to say she's from China sometimes.
Hello.
Hi, Hyde.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. All right, guys, we'll get started shortly. But in order to get started, you need to see the story, the news article that we're going to read together. Pay attention, guys. Pay careful attention. To see this story, you need to click on Google Drive. Yeah, it looks like this strange rectangle. And then Hangout Notes. If you don't see this rectangle with 3 colors, click on these 3 ellipses here, and it will be in here somewhere. Okay? Because we're going to take turns reading today. Raphael, welcome, sir.
Hello, Simon.
Hey, buddy, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I want you to help me out here. I forgot what we do in academic English. Could you tell the class what we do in academic English?
We take turns reading the test. You correct our pronunciation and ask things about the test if we understood the meaning.
That's correct. So we read a story together. If I hear a word that's not pronounced properly, I'll double click on it and bold it. Right? And then when you finish reading, we'll go back over and practice those words. Here's the advantage in that. I'm not interrupting you while you're speaking. But the focus of this class is not on pronunciation. The real test of this class is, were you listening? Instead of trying to pronounce each word properly, your real focus is to understand the theme of the story and several key points. Because we're going to read the story for about half an hour, then we're going to have a discussion. All right, guys?
Okay.
All right, I see Jonathan joined us. Jonathan, make sure you're in Google Drive.
Hello, teacher.
Hey, Jonathan.
I open Google Drive.
Yep, and click on Hangout Notes so you can see the story.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So this is where we're going to start with some speaking, and this is where you guys are going to practice listening. And I'm going to ask Raphael if he could start us off since he gave a great description of what this class is about. So, Raphael, if you could please read the title and the first paragraph.
Higher doses of statins linked to diabetes risk. New York, Reuters Health. People with heart problems who were started on cholesterol-lowering statins were more likely to develop diabetes if they were prescribed stronger versions of the drugs. A new study finds.
Thank you. Develop.
Develop.
All right. Now what I want to do, Raphael, because your English is very advanced, I want to read the paragraph and I want you to listen to my rhythm, how I emphasize. Okay, so I'm going to read the same text. From New York, Reuters Health. People with health problems who were started on cholesterol-lowering statins were more likely to develop diabetes if they were prescribed stronger versions of the drugs, a new study finds. Notice a slight difference?
Yes.
Do you want to try read it one more time?
Okay. From New York, Reuters Health. People with heart problems who were started on cholesterol-lowering statins were more likely to develop diabetes if they were prescribed stronger versions of the drugs. A new study finds.
Much better. More natural, better emphasis. Excellent. Well done. All right. Let's go to who's next. Now we're going to come back over to the other side of the class. Gustavo, could you please read this paragraph that I have highlighted?
Okay. This is not about stopping statins. Lead author Colin R. Dormuth from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver told Reuters Health these patients should be on a statin. The question is, should they be on a higher or a lower dose?
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, relax. And guys,
Okay.
don't get nervous. I want you to speak slowly. Be prepared to make mistakes. You will. Otherwise you'd be perfect at English and you wouldn't need to be here. So,
Okay.
please repeat after me, Gustavo. These patients.
These patients.
All right, look at my lips here. This is how you do a TH sound. Teeth together,
These.
tongues blocked.
These.
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 Perfect. These patients
These.
These patients.
told Reuters.
Patient.
Told Reuters.
Reuters.
Router.
Told Reuters.
For everybody who isn't Gustavo, could you please have yourself on mute while you're practicing, please? Okay. So think of Reuters this way. I'll get you to say it. Roy.
Reuter.
Reuters.
Reuters. Perfect.
Reuters.
Statins.
Stat.
Statins.
Thank you. Lead author.
Lead Author.
Author.
Right, thank you. And that's it. Okay, next, please. I'm going to go to Hyde. If you could read the next paragraph, please. And before you start, though, a reminder to you guys. Speak slower. Your pronunciation will be better. Also, as you're reading, you should always be looking several words ahead. So when you get close to the end of a line, you can automatically know what's coming up next by looking to the second line. All right, Hyde, go ahead, please.
Dormas and his co-authors analyzed data on 137,000 patients from Canada, the US, and the UK. The patients were all prescribed statins after being hospitalized for stroke, heart attack, or other major heart problem between 1997 and 2011. None of them had diabetes.
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 Okay. Who is yeah, okay, who's speaking right now besides Hyde? Okay. So I don't know if it's either Pablo or Juan Carlos, but guys, when I'm speaking with another student, please have yourself on mute if you're practicing, otherwise I can't hear that student. Right. Jonathan, it's your turn. Next paragraph, please.
The research considered resemble teams, brand name Crestor, prescribed at 10 milligrams or more per day, astrobenzene at 20 mg or more, and siboltine to 40 grams or more to be higher potency stains. Other dosage were considered low potency.
Okay. Let me hear you say higher potency statins.
Higher potency status.
Statins.
Statins.
Zocor.
Zocor.
Lipitor.
Lipitor.
Crestor.
Crestor.
Researchers.
Researchers.
Search.
Researchers.
Better. All right, so notice how I didn't highlight words like this one here, rosuvastatin. You know what? Nobody really uses these words. They're medical words. Maybe if you got a prescription from Dr. Luis, he would have to know how to say these words. Marketed to the general public, these drugs are known by their brand name, Crestor, Lipitor, Zocor. Okay, so that's why I didn't focus on the medical terms. Unless you were Luis, then I would, because obviously being in the medical profession, that would be helpful. All right, next, Juan Carlos, could you please read those two paragraphs?
Sorry, I don't know how to see the screen to be able to read.
Okay, Juan Carlos, I need you to go into Google Drive. And
Google
click on
Drive,
Hangout
okay,
Notes.
Google Drive, and then
Can you see the text
okay,
now?
okay, yeah, it's ready.
Okay, look at the text that's highlighted in blue on the second page.
On the second page, it's highlight. The highlight.
It's the only text highlighted in blue.
Okay, in blue, no, it's pink.
Yeah, no, look for the text highlighted in blue.
No, sorry, I can't.
Okay.
It's about 3,600.
That's it, that one there.
Okay. About 3,600 of the patients were diagnosed with diabetes with 2 years of starting the drug, according to results published in BMJ. Those prescribed. Does it?
Prescribed?
Those prescribed a higher potency statins were 15% more likely to be diagnosed with the diabetes than those given lower dosages.
Dosages. Statin.
Statins.
No, there's no S there. Statin.
Statin.
Yeah. Prescribed.
Prescribed.
Results published.
Results.
Results published.
Results published.
Published.
Excuse me?
Published.
Publish.
Don't forget the ending of the word published.
Don't forget what? Excuse me?
You're not pronouncing the final consonant. Published.
Ah, published.
Perfect. Starting.
Starting.
Patients.
Patients.
Starting.
Starting.
Diagnosed.
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 Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Next, please, Luis.
Previous studies have found that taking higher doses of statins reduces the risk of having another serious heart problem by the same amount, about 15%, compared to taking lower doses. Physicians need to weigh the small increase in benefit against the increase in diabetes risk, Dermot said.
Once again, Luis, great improvement in your ED suffixes. Well
Thank
done. Weigh.
Weigh,
Lower.
lower.
Okay, that's it. Terrific. Let's see, how much more do we have left? Okay, yeah, they start getting bigger. All right. Lau, could you read the next two paragraphs?
In other trials, rates of death among patients taking low dose and high dose statins have been the same. That means higher dose statins do not extend life more than the low dose versions, he said. The higher dose may still be necessary for some patients. For example, those with genetic conditions leading to very high cholesterol, he said.
Excellent. Cholesterol.
Cholesterol.
Trials.
Trials.
Well done, thank you. Next paragraph, please, Nora.
The first major statin trial was published in 1994, but researchers did not suspect a link with diabetes until 2008, said David Bruce. He has studied statins and diabetes at the University of Glasgow in Scotland and was not part of the new study.
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Okay, Glasgow. Excellent. David?
David.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Excellent. All right, next. Oh, something's funny is happening to my screen. There we go. All right, Pablo, next paragraph, please.
After that, two major trials were published which found that taking a statin puts people at a slightly higher risk of developing diabetes, and taking a stronger statin puts them at a slightly higher risk than taking a weaker statin, he said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Higher risk.
Higher risk.
Statin.
Statin.
Published.
Published.
Two major trials.
Two major trials.
Excellent, thank you. And back to Raphael. Sir, if you could please read the next paragraph.
commonly used statins, such as simvastatin, atorvastatin, and rosuvastatin, taken at a lower dose probably puts one at 10% higher risk of developing diabetes. Press said, taking these same statins at high doses probably pushes it up to about 20%.
Well, you continue to impress me, Raphael. Well done. I notice you taking my advice about reading ahead. And even though you had some really tough words here, you nailed this. Well done.
Thanks.
All right, next, back over to the other side of the class, we have Gustavo. Gustavo, could you please read the next two paragraphs highlighted?
Okay. However, it's still not clear what explained the extra risk. Researchers said the BMG study is based on a review of the records of patients treated in day-to-day practice by doctors who individualize treatment for each patient's. Please note.
Individualized treatment.
Individualized treatment.
Patients.
Patients.
BMJ.
BMJ.
This is something weird between English and Spanish. I've noticed that we say J's and G's differently for some strange, bizarre reason. But in English, this is definitely, I can guarantee you, a J.
J, okay.
And this is a G.
Okay.
Just
J.
something happened a couple thousand years ago, a couple hundred years ago, I guess, and we all started saying things slightly differently. But that's how languages change, right? So it's BMJ in English.
BMJ. Okay.
All right. What explains the extra risk?
What explains the extra risk?
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Hi. Next paragraph, please.
In other words, there were inevitably differences between patients that were treated one way and those treated another way. And this limits the ability of such studies to be able to look at the cause and effect. Press told Reuters Health in an email.
Thank you. Cause and effect.
Cause and effect.
Excellent. Well done, Hyde. All right. Jonathan, next paragraph, please. Or actually, take the next two. They're not very big.
Stunning has been like the other heart problem beyond diabetes, including kidney injury and rhabdomyolysis, or rapid loss of muscle tissue. Domus note, it is not as simple as comparing to a small increase in diabetes to a small increase in heart protection, he said.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Thank you. Now let me look up this word here because I've never seen this one myself. And I want to make sure I get the pronunciation right. Rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdomyolysis. Very well done. Including kidney injury.
Including kidney injury.
Kidney.
Including kidney injury.
Yeah. Kind of like that. It's kidney.
Kidney.
Health problems.
Health problems.
Very good. You corrected yourself. Well done. Statins.
Statins.
Well done. Thank you, sir. All right.
Thank you.
Next two paragraph. Actually, why don't you do the last four paragraphs there, Juan Carlos? It's kind of a trick. There's really only two, but.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know what happened.
All right. Well, Luis, could you go
Okay.
ahead and read the last two then, please?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, start speaking, please.
Okay. The uh, the new finding are important for doctors to consider when prescribing statins, but they shouldn't change anything patients are doing, he said. If patients are worried, they should talk to their doctors, he said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Luis, what am I doing right now?
Now is the step in our class when we have a discuss about the test, so we have to type some ideas, some sentence, what we understood
Yeah,
about
I want to make
the article.
sure you guys can understood what we were reading and you weren't focusing on just pronunciation. So I want each one of you to go to the bottom of this article, and I want you to tell me at least one thing, one point that this story is about. More than one student can type at the same time. Find your own line and just start typing. Then we'll have a discussion. So Gustavo and Luis, good job. I see you guys are already starting to write out. Pablo as well, good job. Lau, excellent. I want everybody writing. Hyde, Nora, Juan Carlos, Jonathan. Excellent. We'll talk a little bit. I'll do some spelling corrections if I see any. Good. Well, you guys are doing terrific. I'm seeing a lot here. Good, Gustavo. Excellent spelling. Raphael, you are typing very fast, sir. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you wrote?
It's about, the story tells about the use of statins in some doses, specific doses and high doses can raise the risk of getting diabetes.
What is a statin? Can you tell me what a statin is?
It's a kind of, I think it's a class or type of drugs.
Yeah.
They use these drugs to minimize or to reduce the cholesterol level in our body.
Okay, so you go on with what you were saying. You found what?
These specialists, they did this research in people who suffered strokes and heart attacks and other problems, and they started treatment with this medicine, with these statins, and it was found that some of those people started having diabetes, and when they didn't have this before. So yes,
Right.
and they.
Thank you. Well, very well done. Yeah, I think you captured the most of anybody. But let me go on to see who wrote above you here. Nora, what can you tell us about what you wrote?
Well, what I understand that some people are more likely to have diabetes than others. They have heart attack or something. When they're prescribed these drugs, overdose, they're more likely to have diabetes.
Okay, thank you.
Honestly, I wasn't paying attention to what is it about. I was focusing on the pronunciation.
Yes, but the key focus on the class is not on pronunciation, it's actually on the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I know that. So next time I will practice more.
Excellent. All right, so yeah, apparently if you take these statins, then you have a risk of getting diabetes more than if you didn't. Let's find out more. Let's see who else wrote something here. Who wrote, the statins have side effects and would cause potential?
It's me.
Please go ahead and tell me more about that.
According to this article, I found the author want to tell us the statins have side effects that would cause potential diabetes and diabetes and some other diseases, but it's not a primary concern of the patients, so they will continue use it.
Okay. Do you remember what type of people would take? Oh no, I see somebody else writing something, so I don't want to spoil their points here. Let me hear you say side effects.
Side effects.
Excellent. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Well done. Thank you.
It's a plural or singular. I think diabetes or diabetes.
I only ever hear it saying diabetes, and I just take it for granted that's how we say it. Diabetes is a noun.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, we never say they caught. I'm trying to think. That's just how we say it. Yeah. Trying to think of different ways of conjugating it. If you have diabetes, then you'd be considered diabetic.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Let's see. Okay, who wrote this right here? It is a published study. Who wrote that?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, could you
Hi.
tell us about what you wrote?
Yes, I understood that the study is about a new medicine called statins. It is used to help people with cholesterol,
Cholesterol.
and it have some effects like diabetes and other things. Okay.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Is having high cholesterol bad?
What?
Is having high cholesterol bad?
Okay.
Well, let me ask a doctor. Luis,
Yes.
is having high cholesterol bad?
Actually, when you make the misery about the cholesterol, we measure three kinds of cholesterol: the high cholesterol, the low cholesterol, and the, I don't know the name in English, but the signal is VDL. So what is concerning about cholesterol is about the LDL, the low cholesterol type, and this kind of cholesterol is concerning with in the high level.
Okay. Well, what is a high level considered today? What is the current? What does the medical profession consider the high level right now?
About LDL, the low cholesterol is over 180 or 150.
Okay. So interesting. This is about high cholesterol, and guys, this is something we can talk about too. But if you have high cholesterol, what is your risk of suffering from heart disease or dying early, right? Because if you're taking statins to help reduce cholesterol, well, what is the risk of you getting sick from taking statins? So does the drug help? Does it allow you to live longer? Or does it create more problems, right? So something I want you guys to think about as we continue here. All right, who wrote this paragraph?
Me.
Hi, please tell us about what you wrote.
The patients who have had problems are prescribed statins that make cholesterol level lower. Some research has warned it can cause diabetes, and statins have been linked to another heart problems, kidney injury, and losing muscle tissues.
Yeah, so we can see that while the risks of high cholesterol can lead to heart disease or heart attacks and that sort of thing, it appears that statins have a lot of risks, not just one thing. But again, unless we know the numbers, it's really kind of hard to tell. All we know is that the drug to make us better in one way could make us sick in another way, right? There's always side effects with drugs. All right. Who wrote this paragraph? Okay, nobody's there. All right. What about this paragraph? Who wrote this paragraph?
Excuse me. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. That was me. I wrote that paragraph.
Please read it to us and tell us more.
Okay, it's about health risks when you take the statins trying to control cholesterol. My problem could be diabetes, but it will depend on how big is the dose. For me, that's the main the story about that, and they explain what could different problems you can have if you try statins.
Okay. Now I want you guys to start to have a discussion about this, and I want to spark conversation by mentioning some controversial things. And as always, you've got the internet there to do some research, but I want to bring something up. I was watching with 60 Minutes and Nova, which one is a science program, one is a news show, and they're saying in the US that they keep lowering what the level that they consider high cholesterol in the US. So that even myself, it's easy to have a high cholesterol number. And what they're saying in these news programs is that one of the reasons is because statins make a lot of money for drug companies. But there's a lot of side effects to them. And what some doctors are coming out to say now in these studies is that the high cholesterol does not necessarily mean you're going to get a heart attack. Right? What do you guys think? Is that crazy? Is that bad science or bad news? What do you think? Have you guys heard anything about cholesterol and heart disease and other medical conditions? Who would like to go first?
Me?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. That's crazy, as you say, because you don't know what to do, because if you have high cholesterol, that's a problem. But if you take some medicine trying to control that, you could have a problem. So it's crazy because you don't know how to do.
So what do you think you should do if you hear conflicting information like this? Where can you go for information?
Maybe no. You had to find professional advice. But I know that's difficult because there are. This question is polemic.
Well,
it's not clear.
No, and what you can do is you can talk to your doctor and ask them about information. You can also do research on the internet. Now, whenever you're looking on the internet, always consider your source.
Okay, but
some guy in a Yahoo group, well, I wouldn't trust it. But if it's coming from a TV program such as something on Discovery or something from the British Broadcasting Corporation, maybe PBS, then that information may be better.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It has to be like you say. Because internet has, you don't know, internet has a lot of trash, so you have to be careful. Maybe you have to try to see in channels, TV channels like.
Yeah, the point is to do your research. So in the last year or so, there's been a lot of talk in news media about fat and sugar.
Teacher?
Just a minute. How high amounts of sugar and high amounts of fat are bad for us. Which one is worse? And previously, the idea of high sugar being a bad thing wasn't seen as such a big deal. At some point, high fat wasn't considered a big deal.
I think that is more important the prevention, how we can prevent the bad cholesterol. I mean, there are not sufficient information in.
Well, let me ask Luis another question here. Luis.
Yes.
If we don't eat anything with cholesterol, do our bodies make cholesterol?
Yes.
Okay. Is cholesterol an important chemical or compound in our body? Do we need it to survive?
Yes, it's a part of our metabolism.
Yeah.
Body metabolism.
Yeah, it's used by the brain needs it. It's an essential compound in our body that we produce naturally. Okay, so you got to be careful too. If you really lower your cholesterol level, it can create a lot of problems. So what Juan Carlos was saying is something very important. It's called balance. There are always different fad diets, as an example, that people are talking about. All of a sudden, high carb diet, or high protein diet, high fat diet, high sugar diet, right? And most of all the new studies that are coming out now are saying, well, wait a minute here. It's about balance. It always has been. Don't eat too much of this. Don't eat too much of this. Have some fruits. Have some vegetables. Have some meat. You know, vary it up. So balance, I think, is important. But remember, it's the research. Don't always trust information that you're given. Verify it. Raphael, you look like you're getting ready to say something.
Well, we live in a business world.
What? No.
Yes. Are they really concerned about I missed the word, preventing from getting a disease or getting a disease and buy medicine? I think they are really concerned about selling. So, as you mentioned before, they are raising the minimal levels of high cholesterol in order just to reach a bigger part of markets. Perhaps other doctors would prescribe this statin or other medication with lower levels of cholesterol. just for selling more medicine for
Wow. I can't believe you said that. Are you trying to tell me that drug companies, which are public corporations, are trying to make money?
this. Yes.
This shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, they're there to make money. Look, I'm here to make money. You guys have jobs to make money, right? We make money so we can eat. That shouldn't be a shocker. However, when you make billions of dollars, well, then, yeah, you might want to pay a bit closer attention to how things are done. Look at Apple. A lot of the media coverage about how they treated their employees in China. Well, that started to change things, didn't it? But drug companies are there to make money. They look at the drugs that make money. Statins make a lot of money. Viagra makes a lot of money. Right? These are drugs that make a lot of money. Now, one interesting thing that the story talked about, not this one, but the other one that I told you about, what's happening in the US by lowering the level for high cholesterol, it puts a lot of doctors in a very difficult spot. For example, if Raphael comes into the doctor and he measures high cholesterol, then if the doctor doesn't prescribe him a drug, the doctor could get in trouble. And if the doctor goes to court, the attorney could say, well, wait a minute, are you saying you know more about cholesterol than the American Medical Association? Right? So it can be tough. You've got to do research yourself. Now let's talk to Pablo. Pablo.
Yes, teacher.
Hi, Pablo, are you aware of any drug that doesn't have a side effect?
No. Now I'm using vitamins.
Yeah, vitamins.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, even
That
vitamins, if you take too many of them, they
side
can be
effect.
bad for you.
How?
If you take too many of certain vitamins, that can be dangerous too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's only with moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Only have some prevention and moderation with the drugs and medicines. I think that all the drugs medicines have side effects. All.
Yeah, most of them do. They say right on it that these are the side effects. If I get a prescription, I don't have anything here, or do I? Ah, here we go. Well, this is just cough drops, right? So I've got some cough drops here, and mode d'emploi, that's French. Directions. Even here it says, you must take no more than one every 2 to 3 hours. For children under 6, you must talk to a doctor. If symptoms are severe or persist for more than 2 days, consult a doctor and keep out of reach of children. Why? Because if you take too much of these, it could cause a problem.
Yes, even the food have a side effect if you eat a lot of.
Are you trying to tell me if I eat a lot of steak or hot dogs or chocolate, it can cause problems? Well, it
How,
can.
teacher? I don't understand.
Okay, if I was to eat 28 hot dogs a day, do you think it would cause problems?
Yes, of course.
Okay, if I ate 3 pounds of chocolate every day, do you think it would cause problems?
Yes.
Yeah, my teeth would probably rot, for one thing, and I might start to gain weight. Yeah. Nora, what do you think?
Yeah, as you said, I think in everything, when you take too much from it, you'll have side effects. So it's not just the drugs.
Yeah, true. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lau.
Yes.
Your thoughts on what we're talking about here? Drug companies, moderation, the topic of the story, health in general. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I think do everything needs to be in moderation, but I think in different stages of different people, they will have their own value, primary concern. So we all know overwork or over eat maybe could make you have a disease. But some people just like have fun, play hard, so this is their opinion, their value, I think.
Yeah, very good. Luis, you must have a lot to talk about this here. You're hearing so many different things. What are your thoughts, Luis?
No, yes, but I don't think if we have to create a concerning about the issues that brings up of the article, because the medicine as a science creates truth, that creates transitory truth all the time, because the medical science is created inside an environment of the medicine evidence-based. So it research brings up a new idea, but it's transitory. Long time after long can be have a different answer for the same question. So that issues can be changed in the future. So nowadays, the doctors have to follow the guideline that the American Association creates for to create an insurance for the doctor make the prescription with security. So I don't know. This article is a current new for me, but we have to wait what the medical association involved with the cholesterol research, diabetes research, have to say for change the guidelines for the doctor can prescribe in a different way.
This is very good, yeah. And that's it. It can sometimes take 20 or 30 years for research to come around to show the opposite. Whether we're doctors, scientists, teachers, construction people, we're not always open to new ideas. When the idea of why the world was starting to get fat happened about 20, 30 years ago in the US, they started asking, well, what is it that is making people fat? And they started to look at burgers and pizza and all these things with high fats in them. So companies started having low-fat burgers, low-fat this, lean beef. They tried to remove fat, but they put more sugar in it. Now, I think it was around 1979, 78, there was this one nutritionist or physician who was saying, well, wait a minute, no, sugar is dangerous here. Too much sugar will cause this problem for the system and will cause you to get fat. But he wasn't very good at marketing himself, and eventually the whole idea that fat is bad for you took over. Now, in recent years, I started to look back at that research and say, you know what, this guy kind of had it right. It was more that high fat is a problem for you, or high sugar is a problem for you. So they're starting to look and say, well, no, sugar is more of a problem than fat. Others even say, well, wait a minute, no, if we put sugar and fat together, well, they're far more dangerous. Imagine, for example, you take a mouthful of sugar, what are you going to do? You're going to spit it out. It's too sweet. Imagine you take a mouthful of butter. It's too fatty, too horrible. You spit it out. But now imagine you have a bite of cheesecake. You want more and more. Because our bodies know that if we have too much sugar in its natural form, it's too sweet. We can't take it. Same with too much fat. However, when we bring them together and make things such as cheesecakes, things with high fats and high sugar, our brain, ice cream is another example, is not used to this. And so we crave even more of it. We don't have that off switch. So all the latest research in diet comes from not, yes, too much sugar is bad, or yes, too much fat is bad. Both are bad. It comes from balance. Don't have ice cream every day. Don't have a kilogram of ice cream. Have some ice cream. Eat your vegetables. Eat your meat. Have some pizza once in a while. Have a burger once in a while. But don't have a burger, pop, and fries every day and have high-fat stuff and high-sugar stuff in the morning. It's about balance.
Listo, mami. Aburrido para allá. Chao.
What do you think, Hyde?
Yeah, but many people say the sugar is very bad for our health, but the sugar is very important for our brain. Brain consumes only sugar.
Yeah. Well, our muscles break down, I can't remember, is it one molecule of glucose can break down and give us 36 ATP molecules, which is what our muscles use for energy. Glucose is very, very important. However, you get plenty of sugar from carrots and other vegetables and fruits. Apples are very healthy, so are oranges. But Luis, what happens when we take a nice 1 liter drink of pure orange juice and drink that down? Is that a high amount of sugar? Is that good for us to drink down that much sugar? Oh, you're on mute, Luis.
Sorry. You drink all the bottle? I didn't answer.
Yeah, if I was to drink a bottle of pop or a bottle of orange juice, is one worse than the other?
I believe that the level, the sugar level in a bottle is higher. So
Yeah.
you have to be careful about the concentration of the sugar level.
That's right. We used to think that pop was bad for us because of high sugar.
Mate.
But apple juice, orange juice, it has just as much sugar. Being natural doesn't make it better for you. After all, uranium's natural too, but you wouldn't want to get too close to that stuff. Right? The reason why eating fruit is better is you're getting fiber. You're getting more than just sugar. And if you ever took an orange and you squash it down, how much juice would you get out of it? That much. To drink a liter of orange juice, or even half a liter, would take probably half a dozen oranges. You wouldn't sit down and eat half a dozen oranges, would you? Right? So it's how we look at information. And it's partly how we're sold on information too. So the one lesson I want to leave with you guys is always do research. Look into things. If somebody says something is bad for you, research it. Look online, see what you can find. If someone says something is good for you, do the same thing. And always ask, is somebody trying to sell you something? Because that might add some bias. Any last thoughts, guys? Nora, any other thoughts?
No, I just have one more thing to add.
Sure.
That if anything new comes up, I think it's very important to discuss it, to highlight the cons and pros of it, so that we encourage the companies to do more research about it, encourage the media to highlight it, talk about it, and we don't just take a thing without thinking and.
Yeah, look at Europe, for example. Genetically modified foods has not been accepted as well over there. Right? Different countries, different continents look at issues differently. So the information is different. Luis, it looks like you were getting ready to say something.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like to spark interest. I like to get you guys thinking because sometimes you forget you're actually learning English. But there's a lot of sources of information out there. There's documentary TV shows and movies. There's PBS, Public Broadcasting System in the US. It has a lot of smart and intelligent documentaries on all sorts of things: medical, nutrition, science, cosmology. You've got the BBC from Britain. It also has a lot of good documentaries. You've got various articles online from reputable news sources. And they're not always going to agree. But it's always good to do some research. Remember, it's your health. Gustavo, any thoughts?
I think that the medicine and the drugs is okay for me, only if we are moderate and we select or we choose a good doctor. I think that today we are living much more than some years ago. Some years ago, the people that at 50, maybe, or 16, and now we are living 19 or more. So I think that the reason for that is good medicine, good drugs, and
I agree. Yeah, like I have no problem taking drugs, but I always ask my doctor, well, what are the side effects of these, right? And sometimes I get better results by talking to a naturopath, right? So yes, look at the science, but don't ignore some of the other stuff that just comes from naturally eating plants and herbs and other things too, right? It's amazing. If there's a show on TED Talks, and it's on let me see if I can spell this right, angiogenesis. I don't even know if I spelt that right. It's such a long word. I'll write it out in chat, and maybe Luis might know the correct way of spelling it. But it's a talk where this guy talks about how when we hurt ourselves, for example, our body will do one of two things. It'll grow lots of blood vessels to provide blood to the area to encourage rapid healing. In other cases, we're very slow to grow blood vessels. We might bleed longer. Now, if you're very quick to grow blood vessels, you can be susceptible to a whole list of diseases. If you're very slow, a list of another set of diseases. Now, if you've got a history of cancer, then you would want to have the ability to grow blood vessels slower, right? And that's what this article talks about. All right, Juan Carlos, take care, buddy. So anyhow, as they get to this article and they talk about people who get cancer and the type of drugs that are out there. Then he talked about foods you can take, such as tomatoes, green tea. And these things are high in anti-angiogenesis. And they provide almost as much resistance or fighting ability to cancer as a lot of these drugs. So what is he, and he backs it up with research, but what he says is, you know what, if you eat a healthy lifestyle, if you involve things such as bok choy and tomatoes and green tea in your diet, you're helping prevent cancer from ever happening. And it talks about how we eat can greatly help prolong our life and provide a better quality of life. Like smoking, and Luis, I'm not sure, and I know we've gone over here, but I know with smoking, if we look at how much it shortens your life by, it might only be a couple of years. But your quality of life might suffer for many more than just a couple of years, correct? So it's about your quality of life. And, you know, some people want to live fast and drink lots, eat lots, have a good life. And you know what? Hey, if I only lived to 50, I had an amazing life. that's their choice, right? But guys, I digress. We've gone over a few minutes. I hope maybe I've been rambling a bit too much today.